A piece of news, we've been saying throughout the day that the royal family was in some ways going to be judged by how Diana is treated in death, and we learned just a short while ago that her body has now been moved to the Chapel Royal at St. James Palace, which is not very far from Buckingham Palace, not very far from where the Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth, also lives. It's where she and her staff had their offices. And so you begin to see in Britain tonight a sort of deeper engagement, I think, of the royal family in her death. I want to pick up a little bit with you on where Liz Tilberis left off on talking about her as mother, maybe a little bit about Prince Charles as a father.
I've heard Prince Charles talk about his children, by the way. He adores them. There is no question. There is also no question that Princess Diana had a different vision of the style in which they should be raised.
And she was preparing, excuse me for interrupting, but she was preparing one son to be future king.
And she was also preparing to see the two boys today. She was flying back to England to rejoin her sons.
And I've seen the scenes over and over again. You'll see some of them again in just a moment, where she rushes up to them and grabs them and hugs them. As we know, William, age 15, Harry, 12, were everything to her. Let's look at some of the scenes of Diana as mother.
Diana introduced her sons to the rambunctious pleasures of motorbiking and river rafting in Colorado, in contrast to the aristocratic pleasures taught by their father. With her son William, the likely future King of England, she had a large say in his education. He's attending Eton outside London, instead of the cold and remote Gordonston School in Scotland attended by all of William's male relatives before him. And she was always openly affectionate with her children, giving them big hugs and kissing them in public. A sharp change from that royal reserve.
I want them to have an understanding of people's emotions, people's insecurities, people's distress, and people's hopes and dreams. I take them around homelessness projects. I've taken William and Harry to people dying of AIDS. I've taken the children to all sorts of areas where I'm not sure anyone of that age in this family has been before. I've heard people say to me that, you know, Diana's out to destroy the monarchy, which has bewildered me, because why would I want to destroy something that is my children's future? I will fight for my children on any level in order for them to be happy and have peace of mind and carry out their duties.
Those duties, ironically, already included dealing with photographers. We couldn't help but notice how Prince William took charge of a family photo opportunity with his brother and cousins. It was on a ski trip, and he negotiated with the press on a Swiss ski slope while his father watched from a hotel window.
How are you enjoying your holidays together?
Right.
Enjoying it? It's good.
Fun.
Good fun.
Who's the best skier of all four?
Well, improving is very good.
They're improving.
Very good skills.
Look here, please. Look at this camera, please.
It may be a fustian bargain, but the young man has already learned his job and already learned to perform it with royal grace.
The aplomb of a future king. You talked with her in one of your meetings in London?
Well, shortly after she did that now famous, infamous interview, I did talk with her in London, and I asked her how her sons felt about this, and she said she had talked with them about this, and that they understood how she felt, and they understood the relationship between herself and their father, and that she did not want to speak against the father. She described William, the oldest son, as more sensitive. These are my interpretation of her words, perhaps a little more like her. The youngest son was easier going. And I think what sums it up perhaps most to me is that at Christmas time a year ago, her Christmas card was herself with her two boys, and the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles's Christmas card was himself with his two boys.
Such as it is in divorced families. It reminds me a little bit of when Prince Charles was a boy. Prince Charles, you know, his father, Duke of Edinburgh, sent him off to school to try to expose him to a greater extent than his mother and his grandparents had been. He hated it. And but I mean, that's amazing. You see in this interview, you talk about aplomb. That's tough facing all that press.
It is, but it comes back in a way to the idea of the way she wanted to change the monarchy and this fundamentally different view. There is a view in Britain, as we know, that you have to keep the mystery of the monarchy in order to preserve it. With the children instrumental in it, she believed that informality, some informality, was the key to saving the monarchy.
You know, as we talk, we show the pictures of millions of people grieving, and we're all sharing what small memories and what pleasures we had in the relationship. But the ones who must be grieving obviously more than anyone else, whose lives will never, ever be the same. Of course, those two boys.
Can't bear to think about them.
I'm very struck, too, about how it's often said that we in America, and certainly in Europe, are almost more engaged with the royal family than the British are. In some ways. It is not the healthiest of institutions in the British House at the time, and she, Diana, both contributed to its elevation and to its reduction in some ways. But you keep thinking there are magazines in France and in Germany which put the royal family on a cover every week. Talked about people, man, they do it every week, 52 weeks a year, year after year after year, because there is this fascination. I'm enjoying learning from you both. We'll continue our coverage in just a moment.